ideologically opposed.
Yeah, well, remember, I've never said he was ideologically opposed to science. And so this is a really good question, right? So how did Bill Nierenberg make sense of the fact that on the one hand, he's supporting the climate research unit here, he's building it up, he's helping Dave Killing get the money for his work, but at the same time, you know, kind of one hand's doing one thing and the other hand's doing another. So there's a couple of pieces to that. So we should get Ralph in here, because one of the things that Ralph and I have talked about is that Ralph actually found some documents to suggest that while Bill Nierenberg made a big public show of supporting Dave Killing, that actually the truth of the matter is probably a lot more complicated, and it's not clear that Bill Nierenberg was as enthusiastic about Killing's work as he later claimed in public, and that Killing himself thought. So that's one thing, and that's one thing about doing historical research. I mean, part of what you have to do is kind of dig below, and people's memoirs are not always reliable sources of what actually happened, because people don't always know everything that's going on around them, or they don't always remember accurately. Or maybe politically it's useful and important to thank people, even though the support they gave you may have been mixed. But I think the stronger and more important part of the answer is kind of relates to something that Charlie said on Wednesday. Bill Nierenberg believed in science, and he believed that scientific research on climate should be done. And he believed that it was important that we had a better understanding of the climate system, and that included this crucial question of how much carbon dioxide did or did not affect the climate system. And therefore he accepted that the Killing curve work was important, very important, because we needed to know how much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere there was in order to judge and evaluate how much effect it had. But his own personal view was that the answer to that question was not that much, and that he thought that environmentalists and some climate scientists were kind of exaggerating how significant it was going to be. So Bill didn't think that there was not going to be any climate change. He thought that there would be some climate change, but it wouldn't be that big a deal. It wouldn't happen very quickly. It would unfold over decades to centuries, and we would just adapt. And he was also a technological, what we call it a techno-fideist. He had faith in technology. He believed that the free market left to its own devices would provide us the technology we needed to adapt. So for example, one of the things he wrote about was biotechnology. He thought that it was possible that climate change might make it more difficult to grow certain crops in the areas where they were currently being grown. He thought that, and he wrote that. But he thought it wasn't a problem because the folks on Upper Campus would engineer genetically modified crops that would be adjusted to the changed climate, and therefore it would all be fine.